Wednesday, everyone, and welcome into This is MLS. I'm your host, Kaylyn Kyle, joined along the likes of legend of the game, Sacha, Kljestan, Taylor, Twellman, and Andrew Wiebe. I have questions from you because recently you moved from Jersey to Kansas City. You posted on your social media. Now, I know your maybe vision and awareness isn't the best. We can teach you with that, but your game of Tetris should be. How the hell did you pack this car so poorly? Roll the tape. It's coming. It's coming. I just teased this as if this is like the worst pack job ever. It is coming. It's honestly, what is this, Wiebe?
Kaylyn, you got to press the play button to roll the tape.
It's not me. It's my producer. Tim, come on. Help me out here.
Well, I mean, listen, Tetris blocks are, they're square. Yeah, everything has a right angle. There's no right angles here. This is just a desperation pack job.
You have a flower pot in your passenger seat, seat belted in.
Time out. That's a yellow card on you. That was ingenuity, Kaylyn. We had to find a place to put the child's seat, and so you buckle in the pot. Listen, the Timbers Performance Center is going to be a much better outfit than my car, but I think all things considered, Sacha's a legend of the game. That was a legendary dad moment, and I won't hear it otherwise, all right? I drove 18 plus hours jammed in that car like a human sardine. So you know what? Put some respect on my name, okay?
$10 says that your wife unpacked that, not you. Moving on, because
there was $10. You owe me $10.
There was some big news. Big news in and around Major League Soccer with massive players leaving. Most recently, Toronto FC announced Lorenzo Insigne, Federico Bernardeschi, leaving as well. And then Olivier Giroud from LAFC have mutually parted ways. So let's start with Toronto FC because it's one of those clubs here in Major League Soccer where the ownership pumps money into it. The fans are second to none when the team is doing well, but we have them not doing well for many, many years. Then you sign two players like Lorenzo Insigne, Federico Bernardeschi, and they didn't live up to par. Well, maybe Lorenzo Insigne didn't live up to par. So T, let's start with you. What are we making of these two departing their club?
I think we've known this was coming. I think it may be a little bit later than some of us expected. I understand what Toronto was trying to do coming into this year and maybe seeing if there's anything to salvage. But it's one of those things where you look at it and say, you know what? Insigne is in the conversation for one of the worst, if not the worst, designated player signings in all of Major League Soccer history. And there's been some interesting signings, to say the least. Here's where my frustration is from the outside looking in. Bob Bradley gave them fair warning. It was a wrong signing. And I'm not saying Bob Bradley should have had a huge say in that, but you hired Bob Bradley. And when he did say and found out that Insigne was coming in, he immediately said, this isn't Sebastian Giovinco. This isn't just a rinse and repeat. And yet, their front office still went with it. Bernardeschi had some off-the-field issues, but on the field, you could say numbers-wise, okay, Bernardeschi may have lived up to it. But when you spend the amount of money that Toronto spent, Sacha, you cannot miss the playoffs. You cannot have this kind of, I would say, reputation around your club when you go out and spend this amount of money. I am very intrigued to see what they do this summer. Obviously, they've done this now because they've got 3 or 4 names on the horizon that they can bring in by middle to the end of July. But, Sacha, this has been a dumpster fire from the moment Insigne showed up.
Yeah, and I don't want to lump those two players in together because Bernardeschi was an all-star last season, and I think last year you could say he had a pretty good season. He seemed like he was bought in. Still maybe didn't live up to the hype or to the salary demands that he had, right? And so, but Insigne, probably one of the worst DPs in MLS history, I think will go down as a major, major bust. I'm so intrigued by what Toronto does now. I'd like to see them go younger. I'd like to see them go more in the vein of a Denny Bouanga, somebody who's entering their prime, maybe not a massive name, but somebody that's going to bring a ton of quality on the field. And that's going to buy into the team, right? That we need players in Toronto that are going to buy into what Robin Fraser is doing. You need synergy from the top down. I don't think there's ever been that moment in the last 3 years where you've got head coach, sporting director, president, all bought into the same plan. So Jason Hernandez has a massive opportunity now to put his stamp on this team, on Toronto FC. and sign 2 big players this summer that can change the fortunes of this massive club.
Sacha, T, you guys have been waffling. I'm not going to waffle. Insigne is the worst designated player in MLS history, and that's for 2 reasons. One, the performance on the field, but also the performance collectively and what his presence did to the culture and the expectations of Toronto. But 2, just the amount of money involved. I mean, this guy blew up basically what expectations were for a player entering Major League Soccer to be paid, coming in as a free agent, making, what was it, $15 million a year? So when you look at the investment, the expectations, and the results, I think you could go through the Rolodex. I think you could go from 1996 all the way until now, and I don't think you would find a worse signing in terms of the money and the results than Lorenzo Insigne. But hey, it's a new dawn, it's a new day. T, you said it. They've been waiting for this moment. They needed it. They needed to clear the decks. There's one U22 player on the books at Toronto. There are no DPs on the books anymore. That's it, man. Jason Hernandez, you have an opportunity. Toronto FC, you have an opportunity. You have to plot a new direction forward, and it cannot be in the vein of what we've seen for the last.
Sacha, Wiebe thinks Major League Soccer started in 2010, so we'll let him have that
Episode
one.
96. Who's the worst one, T? Who's the worst signing? Give me one. Just one name.
Lothar Matthäus, I can give you one. I can give you Danielson. You could argue Rafa Marquez with how we spent.
Those guys were washed. They were at the end of their careers. That was a retirement final move. This guy was supposed to be somebody who took you to MLS Cup.
Lothar Matthäus was washed. He immediately left here and went and played in the Bundesliga.
He retired at the end of that time. Okay.
Yeah, I got it. 30-year history of the league, not 15.
So where do
I
Sacha
still stand on business on that one.
Sacha, I love your point there of, it starts from the top to the bottom. All of us know when you do play in an organization, when the vibes are good, you get those good results on the pitch. I think it's really interesting you guys were saying that you think that they should go younger with their DP signings. But historically, have Toronto ever done that, though? They always go for that big money star signing because they have the money to put that there. So do you think they should change what's worked for them in the past?
Well, I don't think younger, like go for a bunch of 22-year-olds, but I think 27 to 29, 25 to 29, right where they're entering their prime. Yeah. Now, you might have to spend a lot more to get somebody in that age bracket to come over, and they probably aren't going to be as big a name as we've seen in the past. Of course, Michael Bradley and Josie Altidore, when they came, they were in their prime. And they were big names in North America, maybe not in world soccer. Giovinco as well. That was a really rare find. It was a guy who really had some big moments in Serie A, but also had been going and playing in a smaller team as well. I'm not saying young 22. I'm saying get a couple of U22s, get a couple of DPs that are in their prime.
T, who would you bring in? If you are the GM of Toronto, where they have all the money in the world, who are you trying to target right now?
I'm not going to transfer market just to look at who's Italian and then signing anyone that's Italian and saying that's what I'm going to do. I say that tongue in cheek, but I also say that with real point to be made here. Yeah. Toronto's one of the best metropolitan cities in North America. You can go a lot of different ways. It doesn't have to be the Italian way. And just because Giovinco worked doesn't mean the next Italian or 2 or 3 or 4 that shows up that works. The players got to be in the Robbie Keane frame of mind. And what I mean by that is what Sacha is saying. It's 27 to 30 you can give me. That's fine. But someone that's still competing at the international level, someone that still wants to represent his country at the international level and use this as a way to do that. A lot of people questioned Robbie Keane when he left Tottenham to go to LA Galaxy, and he immediately played in European championships, World Cup qualifiers, European qualifiers for Ireland. You got to have someone that still wants to do it. When Lorenzo Insigne, and I was in that building at Wembley when they won the European championships, when he immediately left and went to Toronto, you could tell he was mentally done. He didn't want anything to do with it. The other part is, and Sacha, you know this better than anyone, had he ever really left Napoli? See, what really bothers me about designated player signings, Steven Gerrard never left Liverpool. And he shows up with the Galaxy, and everything's chaos for him because of the travel and the time zone and the weather. You got to do your due diligence in understanding the person and the player. Toronto, money's not an issue, but identifying the right person and right player, that has been an issue from the moment they came into Major League Soccer. They hit it with Giovinco. They hit it with Josie. They hit it with Michael. But we just talked about the worst DPs in the history of the league. Toronto could argue that they may have 6, 7, 8 in the top 25 to top 30 of MLS history. They haven't hit home runs when they do this.
Can I throw one name into the mix? Jack Grealish?
Oh, I was going to throw out a name too. I don't mind Jack Grealish. I think he could be a phenomenal player in Major League Soccer. I want to throw out Kyle Larin. That's a Canadian national teamer who has experience in MLS, scored goals in MLS. Now, you might have to overpay to get him, and he is 30, but he could give you 3 to 4 good years in the way that Josie
Sacha, I
did.
absolutely love the idea, but Kyle Larin left very on bad terms from Major League Soccer, so he'd have to right that ship and figure that out. But that's the kind of signing, like a Josie or a Michael, that fits right into changing the complexion of that team.
One word: process. You guys are talking specific names. I want to go with what you said there, T. Like, they have to have the right process. That's on Jason Hernandez. He's got to figure out the names, the right fit. It hasn't been there before. Synergy in the club, the money's not an issue, but have the right process. Right now, they don't have it.
All right, well, let's jump quickly to LAFC, Olivier Giroud. Obviously, that news broke last week. It was mutually parted ways. Maybe also a really bad DP signing, which I'll put my hand up because I thought that he was absolutely going to smash it here in Major League Soccer and went to LAFC and just didn't even get in the starting 11 half the time, guys.
Yeah, listen, Kaylyn, we can all say it was a disappointing tenure for LAFC and Olivier Giroud. I think they've made the right decision that they both agreed it hasn't been working out. Olivier Giroud's already signed with Lille back in Ligue 1, so that one moves on, and it's good for LAFC. They're probably the most intriguing team to watch this summer with possibly a couple of DP spots open. We know that John Thorrington has always had a plan for the future, is always swinging for the fences. And I wouldn't be surprised with a couple of games in hand that they have if they can add 2 quality players into that attack again, that we're going to be watching LAFC towards the end of the season be near the top of the Western Conference and challenging for MLS Cup again.
2 goals in 2 finals for them. Isn't it remarkable? The all-time leading goal scorer for France, and he scores in both finals and yet did absolutely nothing on the other hand. I didn't think he'd smash it, Kay, but I was kind of with you. I felt like he would give them a different way of playing. And the reality is there's only one way they know how to play, and that is through Bouanga and everything else. But as of right now, July 2nd at 1:15 p.m. Eastern time, I can promise you this, Thomas Mueller's on the horizon, close to the finish line. They really are looking at Tottenham Son Heung-min. That's an interesting signing for me because he still has a lot left in the tank. I don't know how far they go with these signings, though, without knowing who their future manager is, because if Denis Bouanga is going to get an offer from Club America, say roughly 11 to 15 million, and they want to make a big decision there, how far down the road do you go with the other DP signings, knowing your new manager hasn't been a part of it, at least on the public side of things, on those decisions? So that's where LAFC gets interesting for me.
All right, well, big question marks around both Toronto and LAFC. Where do they go from here? Both teams have openings for designated players. So I'm going to put a pin on this conversation because I got a little surprise for you. Speaking about top talent here in Major League Soccer, a reigning MVP here in Major League Soccer, let's now bring in Carlos Gil from the New England Revolution. First and foremost, thank you so much for joining us here on This is MLS. We're going to bring him here in just a moment. There you go. We know you obviously had a training session this morning, so it means the world that you guys are...
You can't hear them.
Oh, you can hear us? Can you hear us? We're good? Oh, no? Okay, well, we're going to get the audio up and running, and hopefully he can hear us here in just a moment, and then we will bring him in, because what he is doing for the New England Revolution is second to none. I would say, arguably, maybe it's the team that he's playing on, but one of the best number 10s here in Major League Soccer consistently, whether his team is doing well or not doing well, T.
Yeah, it's hard to argue with anything Carlos Gil has done since the moment he set foot in New England and in Boston. He's been great. He's done everything and then some. He's a leader. He's had to go through a couple managers and understand how that works. I love what Carlos Gil does for the rest of the group. These are kinds of players where, Sacha, you dream about playing, and I think Carlos is.
There he is.
Out, so he's used to hearing me pontificate about how good he is. But Carlos, thanks for joining us, my man.
You're welcome. Thank you.
No, it means the world. We know that you're getting down to business, and it's at that stage of Major League Soccer where the points matter. But for you with your team right now, you know, you've been through the good, the bad, and the ugly over in the New England Revolution. What's the vibe like right now in the 2025 season for you guys?
Yeah, so like you say, I think we had many ups and downs. We had a very slow start of the season, but then I think we find our moment with a new shape, with 3 on the back, playing many good games away and a difficult game. And right now, honestly, we are a little disappointed with what happened in the last 3 games at home. You know, we came from, like I say, a difficult away game, and we wanted to win games at home. We know that it's very important to be strong on the Gillette, and it happened. You know, we just won 1 point in the last 9, so a little disappointed on that.
Carlos, I want to ask you about the last game specifically, though, against Colorado. You're down 3-0 in the second half, and it looked like you had some hunger. You were the player who brought the whole team back. I think if the game was 5 minutes longer, you probably scored the 4th goal to win that one. So what's the feeling when you're down 3-0 and you come back to 3-3? How do you feel after the game?
Yeah. No, I think if the game is 5 minutes longer, I die. So I was like, but yeah, you know, in even losing 3-0, I was feeling like was a game we create some chances. They give us the ball, you know. So if we score, we had the chance. They didn't have Mihailovic, you know, he's the best player, the leader. So we had similar experience in Castas. We were 2-0, and then we conceded a goal, and you start to have some boots, you know. And I think what happened of them. But yeah, but honestly, to be losing 3-0 at home against them in minute 60 or 55 is very disappointing, and we need to see what happened, especially at home, and say that.
Carlos, you talk about Mihailovic being the leader, the focal point, but you've been that man for the Revs for 7 years. This is by far the longest stretch at one team for you in your career. How much pressure, how much responsibility do you feel on a day-to-day basis to lead this team, to get the results that you want? Because you are the heart, you are the face of this club.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm very happy here. It's why I'm still here, trying to give my best to the club, and yeah, I try to be every year the best Carles possible. Sometimes I can, sometimes not, but try to continue give my best, and yeah, obviously we are coming from difficult 1.5 years after we the fire Bruce, you know. So it's a difficult last year and this year, like I say, you know, ups and downs. But yeah, I hope that we can do it better because, like you say, now New England is my home. I just want win here, and I hope before I leave, I can do it.
Carlos, I'm going to jump to our chat here on YouTube because this show is all about fan interaction, and it is starting to heat up since we brought you in. I'm not sure if Taylor has a burner account or not, but it said, imagine if we had Heel providing Twellman goals. That'd seriously be unstoppable with crying, laughing faces. I'd actually love to see that.
Carlos, I just sent it in. I sent it in. Don't worry. You can answer this problem.
Another guy saying in here, what was your favorite goal that you've scored for the New England Revolution? What was your favorite memory?
Maybe the one I scored in DC last year, the first goal, was a good one, and this year also the free kick, because normally I don't score many free kick, so yeah, against Red Bull was a good one.
Carlos, I got a good one for you, buddy. So you only get to pick one, okay? You get to pick the game-winning assist or the game-winning goal. I have a sneaky suspicion you'd rather supply the game-winning assist versus the goal. Which one would you pick?
No chance.
Honestly, the goal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know, the goal is special always. I think I'm better assisting than scoring, but goal is always special, I think.
Yep, that's why we weren't teammates, Sacha. That's why we weren't teammates, buddy.
That's right. Carlos, I have to ask you, you are a former MVP in Major League Soccer. Who do you think the MVP of this season has been so far?
You have to take yourself out of it.
Yeah, for sure. No,
Yes.
I'm not the MVP right now, for sure.
No, you are. You've been unbelievable. We were just having this discussion about you, that you have been arguably one of the best number 10s in Major League Soccer and players. Just your team has been, going through some ups and downs this season. You've been unbelievable.
Thank you. I think obviously Messi is there, but also for me it's also important that the team is on the best place. You know, when I won the MVP, we were the best team. So I think it's and I think Evander need to be there with Cincy. And I don't remember the name, the guy, the number 10 from San Diego.
Dryer.
Yeah, he's doing very good numbers. I think them. Maybe I forgot someone. You know, the striker from Nashville too is scoring many goals, and Nashville is there. You know. But, you know, the MVP is always open. Then some guys start to play good. But obviously, during Messi's there, I don't know. it's always too difficult to think about another one that is not Messi.
It's hard to think that by the end of the season, Messi won't be on top again.
Yeah.
Carlos, this league seems to welcome and get the best out of number 10s, yourself included. What is it about MLS that you think is so conducive to that sort of central playmaker that gets the ball and creates and scores like Messi, like Evander, and like so many others?
Yeah, I think it's different to what is happening maybe in other leagues in Europe, because sometimes this position is not working. They play different shape, you know. But yeah, like you say here, I think it's a league that for this type of players work very good. It's a league that everyone, you know, because we have no relegation and the goal is to be on the playoff. Everyone is going to the same goal, you know, and the goal is win and be there. So I think it's why all the team try to attack, to score goal. If you are winning 1-0, you try to score the second one. And then that makes some space for us, the players, the number 10. So maybe it's one of the reasons. And I think here on the league, the talent is always good, you know, and everyone is helping this type of player. So I think is why this type of players are comfortable here on the league.
Carlos, have you been watching any of the FIFA Club World Cup?
Yeah.
So obviously we've seen the South American teams do extremely well, knocking off some powerhouses of Europe. We saw Major League Soccer do extremely well. Seattle Sounders with a very difficult group, Inter Miami making it out of their group. What's one thing where you feel that you could one rule you could change here in Major League Soccer to maybe close the gap from Major League Soccer to other leagues in and around the world and really compete for a top 5 position? I know it's a heated question.
No, yeah, but I think we need time. You know, MLS need time for that. But it's obvious that we are there. You know, if that happened 5 years ago, maybe the result is different. I think they compete very good, and we don't need to forget that they are not playing against Europe. They are playing against the best teams in Europe. It's not the same. So it's very difficult. The best player in the world. But honestly, I think they compete very good. Mm-hmm. Obviously, if you want to continue getting better players, getting better teams, the money is key normally, you know. So we know here we have the league has 3DP, but then you have some rules to you know. So if I don't know if any time this will be open, for sure will be easy to get even better players, and because honestly, I think this league and this country right now is top for many players. They want to come here. I have many old teammates in Europe that want to be here, and it's not easy, honestly, to come now to MLS. So I think it's just this and time.
Carlos, I'm throwing the rules out, man. You don't need to worry about the rules. You're GM for a day. It's not the Revs. It's just to bring a player to Major League Soccer. Could it be a friend of yours? Could be somebody in Europe that you admire? Who should be in this league that's not right now? Dream it up. Who are you bringing over?
From my team or just
anywhere? Could be anywhere.
Or Lamine Yamal or
oh, good one.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be realistic, but if you have a realistic one that you'd like to see, I'd take that one too. I'll take Lamine Yamal. Sure, yeah, let's do that for sure.
Who's got 15 million for that transfer fee, if not more? 100 million?
50, 200 million.
Sacha, you're on that big contract, so just pull your and TT's money together.
Carlos, is there a friend of yours that you'd like to see over here?
Friend?
Sure.
I don't know. Honestly, I'm 7
He doesn't
years
have
here.
any friends, Wiebe. Good question.
Yeah, I follow my old friends from Europe, you know, it's many years here. But I don't know, maybe Jack Grealish.
We just said Jack Grealish. Yes.
Yeah.
He would be
good
fantastic.
Moment, I think. Yeah, good moment for him. I spent some years with him in Aston Villa. He's a great guy, good player. And for sure, he will enjoy here the league, the country, and you know,
the country for sure.
Yeah. Carlos, I'm going to it's not really a serious question. I always like asking this because I'm Canadian. I've been in America for, 11, 12 years. And I'm a big foodie. So when you go to places like New England or Toronto, I'm always like, what's the best cuisine? What's your favorite restaurant? What's the best food that New England has to offer? Taylor, do not jump in.
Oof. You know, I'm from Spain, so for me, Spain is top there. But honestly, I think maybe no one restaurant, but the seaport area, you know, right now in summer, is top. You have a very good restaurant on the terrace, you know, with good weather. I don't know. I go. I think it's a restaurant that you have in many cities, but I go many times also in Prime. You know, they have they have many things.
What's your order there? What would be your order? I know it's not the same as Spanish food.
It depends the day, but I like to have meat with a good wine, you know, or maybe sometimes just a burger. So it depends the moment. Yeah.
True American. Last one for you. World Cup's coming next year to Boston. How will you experience and your family experience the World Cup in what is now your home city?
No, it's a big moment, I think, for the country, also for Boston. And everyone, I think, is very excited here. And will be great for sure for everyone. Hope I can watch some guys here at Gillette, and I enjoy the maybe best tournament in the world.
Well, Carlos, thank you again for joining us here on This is MLS. We really appreciate your time. Good luck with the rest of the season. And we hope to see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Good luck, buddy.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Oh, I love that. I just asked the most American question. And he's been like, your cuisine is terrible here. I'm going back to Spain to eat food.
Come on, he likes a burger. He likes a burger. Jack Grealish synergy, though, guys.
To be fair, in the chat, a lot of people saying Jack to reunite with Dean Smith. I don't really see him going to Charlotte, but maybe. So very, very interesting. I thought he was going to say Applebee's. Come on, Applebee's. Do you mess with Applebee's?
No, but when he did say, I think there are a bunch of these restaurants around, I was like, oh, what is he going for? Cheesecake
I'm gonna
Factory?
tell you right now, guys. He lost his masshole card very quickly when he didn't come up with fish and chips, Irish pub. He lost a lot. Like, you could tell he's not really living in Boston anymore.
One thing
lobster roll.
Yeah. The one thing that did jump out to me is when we were asking him just at his time in Major League Soccer is he was like the infrastructure here as like second to none. Yes, it's a young league. We've only been around for 30 years. But what Don Garber and the ownerships have done extremely, extremely well is soccer specific stadium. Sorry, I've been like with the FIFA Club World Cup, so football and soccer, my brain's scrambling right now. Is the soccer specific stadiums, the training facilities are absolutely incredible. And earlier this week, the Portland Timbers.
Carlos Hills got to see the change just in Boston at New England himself, right? They built that new training facility, 2-3 years ago. So when he got there, they were just training on a pitch outside of Gillette. And then they move into this state-of-the-art facility. You know how much more fun it is going to work every day when you get to go to this brand new facility and everything is nice and you're catered to in every whim. This is what helps attract players, I think, from around the league that are free agents, but also players that are coming from overseas. I played in Belgium. There's probably 5 teams out of the 18 in the first division that have a training facility similar to what most teams in Major League Soccer have now. That infrastructure goes a long way.
Can I just say something? And this is like not putting the women's game back, but that was the one thing for me when I went to Orlando. They provided us breakfast and we trained at the men's training facility. And I was like, I've hit the jackpot here because we had our gym, we had breakfast, we had food. We weren't having to make our own breakfast and then drive home in our sweaty training gear to have a shower. So I get it. The Portland Timbers, though, I want to show the new renderings of their training facility because it is unbelievable. And he's one of the owners here in Major League Soccer that was hit the ground running. TT, you can touch on this more, but he's always put his money where his mouth is. The stadium is second to none. It's right in the heart of Portland, and this training facility will be absolutely phenomenal. It's over 13 acres.
Yeah, but also what Mara Paulson's done, if you guys haven't seen it, you need to go to their social media pages for the Portland Timbers and their recognition from 1975 when they started and how they've touched into that generation. One of them, Mick Hoban, is a real dear friend of my father's and family, and Mara Paulson's always touched into that. They've always done a ridiculously good job of recognizing the history while also understanding that the future is the most important in the present time. The training facility is good now. I would just say that it needs to improve. It needs to be upgraded. Merritt Paulson will be the first one to say that. But Merritt, I know you're going to see this clip. You'll get my attention when natural grass gets into Providence Park, my friend. That's when you're going to get my attention. Because I mean this I mean this from the bottom of my heart. That place is understated when it comes to a night game under the lights with Timbers Armies in front of you. It's as imposing. If I blindfolded someone watching the show that had never been to an MLS game, and I put you in the middle at 7:45 p.m. Pacific time in a night game at Providence Park and revealed that stadium, you would think you were in the middle of England, the middle of Germany, the middle of somewhere where soccer's been at the heartbeat and the fabric of the city for hundreds of years. I love this training facility because it makes Portland even more attractive to the players that are coming into Major League Soccer. He expanded Providence Park. It is a mecca of a stadium, and he's done a fantastic job with that franchise. And I'm just a little jealous that I never got to play a game in Providence Park because there'd be nothing like scoring a goal as an away team in front of Timbers Army.
You didn't, T?
I'm old, Kaylyn. We want to go through that?
Yeah, hold on. I just got dragged. Said I only knew 15 years. Come on, return. What's going on here?
Return what? I'm old.
Return fire.
No, he's saying Kaylyn should know better that you're old.
Because I need your doctor because you look great, my friend. You look fantastic.
I'm on the road with him. He's got his good skincare regimen going. I've got to borrow that from him. But listen, you use Mecca for Providence Park. It's cathedral. But I was at the training facility this year. Phil Neville, those players, everybody around were pointing over at that open space at the other people in the facility saying,
Exactly.
We're gonna be there soon.
Yep.
We are going to expand into that zone. It's going to be a step forward for the club, and they've already taken steps forward in terms of their stadium and also their players. I'm looking forward to this summer. Taylor, you reported already. Jonathan Rodriguez, what happens with a DP spot? We shall see.
Again, the show is all about you guys tuning in here on YouTube. So like, subscribe, hit us up in the comment section. I am going through as the show goes on. So if the guys have a wild take, hit me with it. I will put them on the spot. I love doing that. Something else that also stuck out to me with Carlos Hill was he has been watching the FIFA Club World Cup. I think it's captured all of our hearts, all of our imagination, because our Major League Soccer teams weren't expected to do well, and they did extremely well, Inter Miami making it into the round of 16, but also the fact that the South American teams are doing extremely well, like blocking out the likes of a Manchester City. So, T, let's start with you. For the FIFA Club World Cup, who's exceeded your expectations so far?
I've learned something during the FIFA Club World Cup because everyone shoves down information to us that the European teams play more games than anyone around the world, and that is factually false. I had no idea that Palmeiras and Botafogo play nearly 73 to 76 games this year. They play a game basically every 2.5 days on average, which is crazy to think about, especially with how big the country of Brazil is and how travel can be a huge, I think, thorn in the sides of trying to get the players to perform at the highest level. I think Botafogo and Palmeiras have done a fantastic job. I think Saudi Arabia was put in positive light. Obviously, one of their teams taking down Manchester City in extra time. I think the games have been played at a higher clip. And listen, we've had results that are completely ridiculous. Like, if I'm not mistaken, Bayern Munich versus Auckland was one of those, and that's going to happen. This is a Club World Cup where they're coming from different backgrounds and different leagues and different circumstances, and you're going to have that. But here's where I am, and I've said this now multiple times. It's not the European champions playing Inter Miami. That game, listen, that was something I never thought I'd see in my lifetime, and I saw it, and I enjoyed it for what it was. Absolutely. But it's the Palmeiras game that has me chomping at the bit, that has me foaming at the mouth for the prospects of where Major League Soccer can go and where it needs to go. Because Carlos Hill just hit the nail on the head. For the last 7 years, infrastructure has been at the forefront of every ownership's mind and everything and how to do it. Portland Timbers announcing that they're expanding theirs. But now it's about the product on the field, the playing on the field. Because when you bridge the gap between Palmeiras and Liga MX, and not the European champions, because that's the one-off, but on this side of the hemisphere, in this continent, that's got to be your goal. And if Miami had 3 or 4 different players to come off the bench, Sacha, Wiebe, Kaylyn, they win that game easily. It's 3-0, it's 4-0. And that's the exciting part, because I do believe that the owners are very smart in how they look at things. They're very calculated. But it's going to be that game and the fact that Saudi Arabia beat Manchester City that will entice and motivate the owners to say, here's where we need to go, and it's got to be on the field. Sacha, Wiebe, Kaylyn, when they do that, watch out.
I said this
every
about the
South American player wants to come here.
Yeah, and I said this about the Seattle Sounders as well. They had the group of death. Everyone thought that they were going to get blown out 13-0. If they had a true world-class striker on that team in match day 1, I think they had 22 shots. I think 11 of them on target. They just weren't clinical in that final third. That group is completely different for the Seattle Sounders. That team showed up.
Kaylyn, we're close. We're close.
Yeah.
But you can see with the final 8 teams, and of course, 5 of them are from Europe. You have 2 Brazilian, one Saudi Arabian. Money talks. Money talks. These teams went out and spent money to buy players. The Al Hilal's got minimum 10 DPs on their roster. Palmeiras has players that they bought from MLS who were DPs in this league. They paid big transfer fees and don't even start for them, right? Yeah. So if we had more DP-type players, our teams would be better, and they would be able to compete more at this level. Just watching the Al Hilal game the other day, Sergej Milinkovic-Savic, midfielder. Anybody ever heard of him? Like, you know, he played for Lazio. He's a $50 million player. He's unbelievable. That's not the type of player that we can go out and get just yet, but these teams can sign them in abundance without the salary cap restrictions. we're a few players away. We're a few very good players away on every team to being actually able to compete and make it to the final 8 of a tournament like that.
There's a total spin. There's also just the creativity within your roster structure to be able to build the team that you want. Some teams will go and do what Atlanta has done and spend all their money on the top 3. But imagine Atlanta United could spend $50 million up and down the roster. Imagine they could spread it out to 10 or 12 players. Imagine what the difference would be for their team. You reduce, by the way, your risk as well. There is a huge risk, as we talked about with Insigne and Bernardeschi and now with Atlanta, that if you spend everything, if you go all in on 2 or 3 guys, what happens when 1 or 2, or God forbid, all 3 don't hit and you're stuck with those contracts? Like, that is that flexibility, that creativity for MLS GMs and owners to go out and say, this is our vision. This is the team we want to build. Let's go build it. And by the way, just go back to the question you asked off the top. Anybody surprised about Brazil performing in this competition has not been paying attention. In the last 6 years, 10 of the 12 finalists in Copa Libertadores have been Brazilian. All 6 winners have been Brazilian. That league has been on the come up for a number of years now, and now they're just showing off their quality.
T, some people in the chat saying, is MLS ready for that? And I'm assuming this has to do with being able to spread out that salary gap across the team.
Oh, the answer is 100% yes. They are. And listen, the one thing we have to, and I cannot stand the lack of perspective when it comes to the league and the owners, it's not as if they've been doing this for 75 years. And quite honestly, in the first 10 years of this league, it was about surviving. Now it's thriving. And now you have 30 different owners, 30 different ways of looking at it. And yes, it may be a single entity, but there's much more diverse way of looking at Major League Soccer now when it comes to the Board of Governors. They're absolutely ready for it. They will do it when they believe the time is right. All I'm saying is the time's right now, because I got a taste of it. And if I got a taste of it, everyone else got a taste of it, of watching the TV and saying, we are there. Sacha hit the nail on the head. So did Wiebe. We're close. Just different ways of looking at it. It's not about how much money is spent. It is about how it is spent. It's not the number. And that's where people get it so misconstrued. $50 million for Atlanta United over 3 players in the last 2 transfer windows. Palmeiras on the wage bill, that's 9 players, guys. That's 9 crazy players for Palmeiras. So it's not about necessarily spending more. It's having the ability to do it different. To answer your question, Kay, yes, the league is ready. It's on the precipice. I just am the one that is loud, obnoxious about it. I'm ready to go. Let's go now. Let's get ready. World Cup comes next year, and let's take off the training wheels and let's roll.
Wait, Taylor, loud and obnoxious? I would never put those in the same category ever. All right, well, Inter Miami were loud and obnoxious in their group, finishing second, had some really good results, beating the likes of Porto. They now return here to Major League Soccer. They take on Montreal this coming weekend. So let's play a little game of true or false. Historic showing at the FIFA Club World Cup will give Miami confidence and kick on and win the Supporter Shield. Currently, right now, they're 11 points behind, but with 4 games in hand. Can they do it? True or false? Andrew, let's start with you. We'll go down the line.
Can they? True. Will they? False. It's not confidence.
Sacha's going down right now, looking at the games that they're playing.
It's not confidence that's holding Miami back. It's their inability to defend in MLS. Like, I actually thought in the Club World Cup they were better defending than we've seen oftentimes in the league. Like, it's not Messi or Suarez or Alba or, we can quibble on Busquets in the midfield balance that's holding them back. It's the center back pairing. At times it's Ustari. It's the guy that's supposed to play next to Busquets and cover all the ground. Like, Miami's issue is not that they don't have elite attacking players. They have those players. It's that they don't really stop anybody. They're allowing like 1.6, 1.7 goals a game in the league. You don't win Supporters Shields that way.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm going to say false. I don't see it happening. I think there's too many games in July. I think they've got to figure out where they want to address some of their holes in their roster if they can in the transfer window. I like the way Cincinnati's lining up. I like the way San Diego is in the West. Yeah. I just think when it comes down to it, Leagues Cup participation as well, I don't see Miami winning it. I really don't.
I love it. All right.
And by the way, I'm just texting. I'm telling you guys what Sasha's going to say. Sacha would say this, quote, false. I agree with everything that Taylor said because he's really smart. He understands everything that I'm feeling because I have no audio in the moment right now. So I'm going to go with what Taylor said. End quote.
His face told me. I was just reading his face. He was agreeing with all that, even though he couldn't hear it.
Exactly.
I can tell.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Taylor, never change, please. And actually, the chat saying never change as well. People are like, "What are we doing?" I remember that GIF that came out. Is it GIF or GIF? What is it called? A GIF?
That's up to Wiebe. I'm too old to know what we're talking about.
I'm a GIF guy, but you know what?
We're talking about the peanut butter.
The YouTube comments, I think, are going to be our best bet as far as confirming or denying the pronunciation there.
Oh, I love it. The East is a beast. Love it. Keep it coming in the chat. Remember to like or subscribe. We're going to try to get Sacha back in just a moment here. So for right now, you're just stuck with myself, Andrew, and Taylor. Lucky you here on a Wednesday. Not lucky me, though, guys. Being a Canadian knocked out of the Gold Cup. I'm laughing and I'm smiling, but it genuinely hurt me to watch the game when Jesse Marsh and the team, because obviously I'm friends with a lot of guys on the team. My husband played with a lot of guys on the team. You guys have played with a lot of guys on the team. But is Jesse Marsh under pressure heading into the 2026 World Cup? Because it hasn't been quiet in his camp. He's been very vocal. He's been very vocal about the U.S. men's national team, that he's happy where he is. But then getting knocked out by 106th ranked or 109th ranked Guatemalan team, that's bad.
Yes, he should be under pressure. Every single manager that has hopes of doing anything in the World Cup should be feeling very real pressure, and doubly so for Jesse, just because of the way he's talked about what this team can and should accomplish. Like, that's been the issue for Canada forever. One, in previous years, they wanted to accomplish things but couldn't. You think of all those missteps.
Hold on a minute. Hold on. We did finish top of the table for the World Cup qualifying. So let's
rewind me back to the 25, 30 years before that. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, now players, Andrew. You talk about it being a new sport here in North America. Canada, it's hockey. That's all we do.
I get it. Tell me about the trophy that comes with finishing a top World Cup qualifying. It doesn't exist.
Talking about the population here in America, and you still haven't gotten
comparing them to America, okay? I'm just talking about your beloved Great White North, which I also love too, just number 2 in my heart. I'm just saying, when you say we should win the Gold Cup and you come out and lose to Guatemala,
yes,
the results are not matching the talk, and Jesse knows he's got to match the talk in the World Cup. That's just facts.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Sacha's back. Sacha's Jesse Marsh under pressure.
Is he under pressure? No, not at all. I think he personally feels the pressure that he wants this team to live up to the expectations that he has for them, but under pressure like for his job, absolutely not. I think Canada is very pleased with him. I think they are happy to have him. I think he has done a tremendous job since taking over. I do think this Gold Cup was a massive failure on their part. I do think he might have underestimated the opponent a little bit in the quarterfinal with some lineup choices that were a little dubious. But I do think he is the right man for that job. I think the players really like him. I think the fans really like him. But he does have to have a big 26 World Cup.
Yeah, he does. Listen, I love the fact that Jesse Marsh wants to talk. And I've said this, I've said this to Jesse in his representation. I don't hear Pep Guardiola talk about Liverpool. I don't hear Thomas Tuchel talk about England or talk about Italy. When Jesse Marsh consistently was talking about the United States, and we all know why. Jesse Marsh was under the impression, and he was told that he was the next U.S. men's national team manager. And he went out and started to talk to and hire his staff, and then the rug was pulled out from under him, and then he went and he didn't get it, okay? That's where this is. But when you're constantly talking about the neighbor to the side, if I was Canadian, if I was a Canadian player, I'd be like, yo, bro, my team, our team, the team that's in the locker room. Like, I get it. And we all know you're red, white, and blue. But at some point, it was too much. When he purposely made a statement about the American player not coming in, and he said, well, all of my players wanted to come in and I got no phone calls. And then you lose to Guatemala and say, well, we were missing half the group. Just so you know, you're missing me. You miss me with that. You miss me immediately with that. Jesse's not under pressure with Canada Jesse's under pressure because he wants to do everything and anything he can so his group of players, which you could argue is more talented than the U.S. men's
100%.
national team version right now, he wants to be that guy, and that's why I will always love Jesse Marsh.
Yeah.
Because there's a chip on his shoulder the size of Mount Everest, whether it's him coaching for Canada, him coaching for Princeton, him coaching St. Sebastian in New Jersey, or him coaching my 8-year-old daughter's team. He's going to want to beat your brains in no matter what he is, and he's going to tell you about it. But when you lose, and you lose in this fashion, you're in the spotlight. You have to be. That's part of the job. Jesse knows that, but he missed me when he said we were missing half the group. When the tournament started, you said every single player answered your phone call and you didn't have anyone asking for time off. That you can't have your cake and eat it too on that.
Like a dig. Sacha, you played under Jesse Marsh, and when I was watching the games in the Gold Cup, I felt like tactically it was like press, 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 press. Now, I know that's like a big thing under Jesse Marsh tactically, but I feel like they didn't really have a plan B. Like, what is their build-up? Where are their platforms? Who's the key player that you're trying to get the ball? Are you trying to attack from wide areas or centrally? Did you see that, or maybe I'm just like reading into it way too much?
Well, I only caught the last one against Guatemala because I was on vacation and all these games were happening in the middle of the night. But I would say that's dumbing it down a lot, right? They are a pressing team. They're a very athletic team. I think
it was a red card too, Sacha. That threw the entire thing, right?
Yeah,
a red card
for
through
sure.
it.
Does that carry into the 2026 World Cup? Because I read something that Jacob Schaffelberg, because this is the last international game,
it's the last
competitive game of the World Cup.
It's the last competitive game. Yes.
That's crazy, by the way.
Yeah, that's a bummer for specifically Schaffelberg, right? Who does his selection a little bit hinge on how long.
That's the dumbest rule ever.
It is. It's awful.
Yeah.
Carry on.
It's awful. But listen, they've got more talented players than the U.S. has at this Gold Cup, for sure. I think, they were missing a couple of guys, definitely not half of their roster, but I do think tactically they understand the way that Jesse wants them to play. And we saw at the Copa America, they understand that the international game is largely physical.
Yep.
A lot of the game is battling, winning duels, winning 50-50s, being hard to play against, and not making mistakes. So they just have to, I think they have the first three things, right? Not making mistakes is where they have to learn. I think they were very naive at the 2022 World Cup coming in. They thought they could just play their game. No. You cannot make mistakes at the highest level. You got punished time and time again at 2022. These are all lessons that are very valuable for Jesse Marsh's group to learn heading into next summer.
And the physical game for Canada and Jesse's tactical mindset, guys, that suits for when you only have 4 days of training and you're trying to come in to maximize a player. That's why a lot of people, including myself, we're asking for Jesse Marsh to be the next U.S. men's national team because it suits a lot of the profiles of the players that we have.
Let's talk about a profile of the U.S. men's national team. I tweeted about it because I watched the game, and Matt Freese, right now, I think this is the first time in the U.S. men's national team history where you don't have an out-and-out number one goalkeeper that has consistently shown up time and time again. So I had tweeted, so I want to know if you guys think I'm crazy. Freeze, the number one goalkeeper for the 2026 U.S. men's national team World Cup.
Right now?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot can happen in 6 months, let alone 11 months.
Right now.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. Listen, I'm really happy for Matt Freese. I'm telling you that right now. And I think he's played himself into the conversation. But this goes for the Diego Luna conversation as well. Guys, a lot can happen. Matt Turner's going to Lyon. Matt Turner plays every game in France in European competition, and he refines his form. You're gonna be very hard to press me that Matt Turner isn't the number one. A lot.
How difficult is that, though, T, to do that? To then sit on the bench, then go to Europe and try to find a number one spot yet again? Really, for a goalkeeper, mentally?
It's not. Lyon has made it abundantly clear that he's coming in to be the number one if he shows up fit and he shows up ready to go, Kay. All I'm saying is, Kay, you played the sport at a higher level than anyone else on this show. A lot can happen in 6 months.
Yeah, no, you're right.
A lot can happen in 6 months.
Speaking of a lot happening, T, Schulte, Stefan, guys that were getting reps before but are now injured. Like, Freese is just getting his opportunity, and, man, he took full advantage of it. He was dominant. In
Well,
that
totally.
penalty shootout.
Hold on, though, Wiebe.
What?
Hold on. To Kaylyn's point, though. To Kaylyn's point, this is competition in front of his eyes versus
Agreed.
watching Wilfred Nancy's Columbus Crew or Chris Armas's Colorado Rapids. So no matter what, if they win and Matt Freese is the starting goalkeeper, he unequivocally in September when they come together, he's going to be the number one. I'm just saying everyone's writing off Matt Turner right now.
Yeah,
way too soon for me. Way too soon.
Yeah.
Way too soon.
Sash, you agree?
Yeah, listen, if he plays for an entire season, I think Matt Turner is the more talented goalkeeper. And so if he's in France and he's playing for a big club like Lyon that has pressure every game that they play, I still think he's the number one come next summer. But there aren't many guys I can say on the roster that are locked into a starting spot in 2026. I could probably name 3 right now, and that's Christian Pulisic, Tyler Adams, Chris Richards right now. That's it.
Yep.
Okay, so players that are maybe on the brink. Let's stick with the Major League Soccer side of things. As of right now, they're still in Major League Soccer. I know there's been some inklings about Diego Luna and Alex Freeman and Ajiman, but these 3 players obviously got the call up to the U.S. men's national team. This is Diego's second big call up tournament, I guess. Has probably been one of the most consistent. So let's start with Alex Freeman first. Has he earned a spot for you? I know a lot of things can change in 6 months, but as of right now, if the roster was being set tomorrow, are you calling Freeman into your squad? Andrew, let's start with you. Go down the line.
Well, it depends on how many fullbacks Pochettino wants to bring in. If he wants to bring 4, I think he should be in the group. You've got Serginho Dest, you've got Anthony Robinson, and then you probably got Joe Scally, and then it's probably Alex Freeman for me. So if you bring 4, I think Freeman should be there, but that is today, right now, and that's based on his age profile, his talent profile, and building the future of the program.
I think he's helped his case. I think he's definitely helped his case, and as of now, yes. Right now, yes.
Yeah, I think so. His penalty for me won me over.
It was confident, wasn't it?
There's either pressure or privilege. And for some reason, when I watch Alex Freeman, there's a privilege to be playing the game at the highest level when pressure's on the field. My money's on the kid right now in the moment. Now, who knows what to say, but there's something about him that just seems like when the pressure comes, he's not really boiling over.
It seems like the same when you talk about Diego Luna. I feel like that kid feeds off of pressure. Would you take him for this U.S. men's national team in 2026? Andrew, go.
Boy, you put me on the spot first. Right now, yes. Just in terms of the way he produces when he's in the lineup and also his attitude. Right now, yes.
T? A little cheeky smile from you?
Yep, cheeky smile. There's unequivocally no chance he starts for me.
No. Just getting called.
Yeah, I'm saying taking him. I'm taking him, yeah.
Yeah, I'm giving you my answer. I find it very interesting how when people, I love the passion about him. I love the profile of the player, all that. But at the highest level, go to the 22 World Cup against the Dutch. What position is Diego Luna playing? Tactically, at the highest of levels, what is his position? What is his contribution on the defensive side of things? I would love him to be my wild card off the bench.
Yep.
And that's the only way I can find a way that Diego Luna makes my roster. The passion, all of that. I want him on my team. I just don't think I'm starting him.
Same.
I think he's earned a spot right now also. I'd take him off the bench, no problem.
It's one of those players, like when you play in a World Cup, I played in 2 World Cups, and it's like the 11 to the 14, you know you're going to get minutes. And it's like the 14th to the 21 where you need hardworking players in training that are going to push you, that are going to follow, the tactics of a manager. Because you know how frustrating it is when you know you're not starting, you probably know you're not getting into a match, and you have to defend against the starting 11. You're thinking, I just want to smash these players because I want to get into the starting 11, but you can't because you're in a World Cup and you have to press. I don't know. I just feel like Diego Luna is that.
Diego Luna, when you know what hits the fan, he's not
running through a brick wall
away from it. And so in the last 20 minutes of a World Cup game or any kind of game, and you've got to throw caution to the wind, sure, I have no problem looking down the bench going, yeah, I'll put him in. Absolutely.
All right, last one word answer because we have like 30 seconds before we wrap. Ajiman, are you taking him, Wiebe? Yes or no? As
right now, yes. Right now, yes.
T?
No.
Right now, yes, but a lot can change.
I'm going no as well. Guys, that does it for us on This Is MLS. I'm your host, Kaylyn Kyle, Andrew Wiebe, Taylor Twellman, and Sacha Kljestan. Again, this show is all about you guys, so like, subscribe, hit us up in the comment section, and we will see you on Friday with our host, Jillian Sakovitz. Until next Wednesday, ciao, ciao for me.